Hey, how's everybody doing? Brother Phil here. Wanted to come on and do my morning broadcast. I'd like to welcome you out to the channel. So I said in the title, buckle up. The United Nations voted 142 to whatever, small number, three, four, five people, countries voted against, but they voted for a Palestinian state, at least I believe it might be just the discussions or to address it. I don't know if it's the actual thing, but if they voted to actually go along with a Palestinian state, then the clock's really ticking. Um, but I believe that there's going to be further discussions for the Pact of the Future coming up in about a week. Good morning. So we have the United Nations voting to declare a Palestinian state, which means God is going to be very angry at this country. I'm going to, first of all, bring y'all back into focus with the uh, eclipses that crossed over the United States. How soon we forget. A lot of people came out saying that these meant a judgment of God was coming. A lot of people kind of ignored uh, the point when they made the scenario of Jonah going into Nineveh, uh, and they kind of just looked at they thought the rapture would happen at one. I don't know why they thought the rapture would happen at that point. Signs are meant to be there to warn you of something that's coming. Anyway, I say buckle up because a lot of people forget that he just made an X over America and actually made a Jewish letter. Um, and I believe the Jewish letter was the end, the last letter of the alphabet. I'm not sure if it was the first letter or the last letter of the alphabet. But the Bible says you'll know the end from the beginning. He tells the end from the beginning, rather. So on the 10th, we have Charlie Kirk being assassinated. And I think that was far beyond what we see. It was a spiritual realm. And something happened. And the name of his ministry is called Turning Point. And just the day after would be 9/11. So all of this stuff, the rapture is a timed event. The judgment of America is a timed event. A lot of people say, well, let's take on the torch that Charlie Kirk left. They don't understand those eclipses was not a message that America is going to continue on. That's a message that America's judgment is coming. Turning point, I looked it up, means exactly what it's saying. Turning point. That means from good to bad or from bad to worse. Let me say this, and I'm speaking in code when I say some of this stuff. I'm wearing my earmuffs because the guy's cutting the grass. So we have a timed event. A lot of people are going around saying, oh, the rapture can't happen on the feast of trial. It can't happen on any day. You don't know the day and hour, and they stick with that. You have some of the top ministries doing that. Let me tell y'all something, folks. God is going to take the little guy and he is going to take the foolish things of this world to confound the wise, even the foolish things of the church to confound the rest of the church. I'm telling you guys now, it's a timed event. Once again, it's a timed event. Just like Jesus Christ came the first time, hung on the cross, he told Peter, before the crow cocks three times, you will deny me. So he knew everything because he was God. When Jesus Christ came the first time, it was a timed event. I don't know why people don't want to hear this. They cannot they cannot fathom that it's a timed event. Just like God is too stupid to have it timed, the timed event. People think God is created a rock that he can't live. How the rapture? Makes you think he's gonna take you and whisk you out of here? You can because their brain cannot conceive millions of people going at the same time. They just can't do it. But when I've said this on my ministry, and I believe this for 30 years, it's a timed event to the point that God's people would know exactly when. If I was the devil, I'll get people to say that the Matthew's 20, because everybody kind of skips over Matthew's 24, or Matthew's 25, sorry. They kind of skip over Matthew's 25, and they don't look at the 10 virgins. They kind of look at it as this is the Jews. Why would it be the Jews when the blindness of the Jews will be fulfilled until the fullness of the Gentiles come in? I got a little tongue tied there. So the Jewish people would be blind until the rapture of the church. So could it be that Matthew's 25 is telling you the story prior to Matthew's 24 and is giving you the recipe to not be there? So he gives a story of 10 virgins, and they slumbered and slept for a minute, and then at midnight they all got up. I mean, what part of that don't you realize? Jewish people aren't going to realize this until after the at least until the middle of the tribulation period, or at least until after the rapture. So I say buckle up because it's a timed event. Now, if it's this year, it looks like everything's into place. It's working itself out. I mean, you can see the thing. You can see the birth pains. You can see the wars and rumors of wars. You can see the hostility among people. You can see the wickedness among people. It's got to be total barbaric when the rapture does take place. It's going to be totally barbaric. It means the demons will come down as the Christians go up. And what's happening and what will happen is you living in an apartment complex or your house, these people are just going to come right up in it. I mean, they don't care. It's savagery, survival of the fittest. So kind of think about that. You don't want to be here. You don't want to be here. So I say tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. So a lot of us knew that it would happen on a future Feast of Trumpets. Regardless of how many times the Feast of Trumpets passed, it doesn't matter. If it passed 2,000 times, 100,000 times, I'm just joking with the 100,000 times, but it passed a lot of times. That's the devil's play card. See, it didn't happen. No, see, it didn't happen. You guys have been saying since the forefathers fell asleep, oh, these things are going to take. It didn't happen. Well, of course the devil's going to point out it didn't happen. Of course the devil's going to say, yeah, it can happen today, but it's not going to happen on the Feast of Trumpets. It can't, because I say so. And the big top ministries, the big dogs, the ones that have hundreds of thousands of listeners are the ones saying it can't happen on the Feast of Trumpets. So if you're following them and it happens on the Feast of Trumpets, guess what? You don't go. You say, that's not true. That's not no, that's not true. You want to bet? Why would he take you on the very day he designated, you're going against it? And you're saying he can't come back on that day. So anyway, buckle up. Anytime you decide to part God's land, that's what happened today. 142. I don't care if they still discussing it and the main vote is in a couple. There's 2 weeks, or if that was the main vote today. Just the talk, just the conversation of it is gonna bring out God's chopping block, God's knife. He is about to judge the nations of the world because they have divided God's land. It says it didn't say that they signed the peace deal or nothing. It just says for when they say peace and safety, sudden destruction. They don't even have to actually sign anything. The covenant, the Antichrist doesn't even have to be there. Everybody keep thinking the Antichrist has to be there. He doesn't. For when they shall say peace and safety, not when they sign, not when the Antichrist signs a peace deal. So what opens up the 1,000 years of of the day of the Lord? What opens it up? And everybody keeps thinking because Joshua says, well, he says on the 923, 924, he's going to take his people out. And then Medic for Christ came and gave you calculations, but the calculation, the Feast of Trumpets opens up the day of the Lord. It doesn't open up the tribulation period. I don't know why people keep saying that. The clock still counts. You still can keep the numbers, but the tribulation period, maybe that's what the extra 30 days is for. The tribulation period starts with the signing of a peace covenant. It doesn't start with the rapture of the church. The day of the Lord starts with the rapture of the church. Am I confusing y'all? The 7 years are at the tip of the 1,000-year millennial reign of Jesus. So first judgment, first he's going to come and he's gonna pressure out all the sin. He's gonna get people to come and say and get saved. The pure purpose of the tribulation period is to bring in that himself and to reveal the force. That's what the tribulation period is for. It's for man to repent. When they say, when the turning point, uh, to me, that's all a coincidence or it's spiritual. One of the two. There's no way this guy gets assassinated the day before 9/11 and then turning point, and then 8,778 days, I believe that's what it is, from 9/11. That's a lot of days, isn't it? What is 800? What is eight? Y'all know what the number eight means, right? 7, and then another eight. It means change of guards, change of. It means finished, completion, new beginnings. Do y'all realize that from the Revelations 12 sign to 923 is 900? I believe it's 2,993 days. I ain't into all these numbers and stuff, but it gets creepy, man. I kind of stay away from the numbers because it gets. I don't want to get sucked into the geometry. What is it? How do you pronounce that? The gematria, or whatever they call it. I don't want to get sucked into that, but you can't ignore it. From the time of Israel's birth into 923 is 9,290. I might got the numbers all screwed up, but anyway, 923 is in it. Uh, and I think it's a number of days, a number of weeks, a number of months. So that's kind of creepy itself. I can probably look it up right now and see the exact time period. I had it already looked up, so allow me to look down a little bit, but I'm gonna look it up. I'm telling y'all, the television was used for, it's supposed to be to educate families and to entertain people and to give news. And then the television went rogue. It got worse as time went on. So television can put in the same place as chat GTP. It's saying that it can be used for wicked purposes. But for right now, chat can be used as a benefit. So I'm gonna look up. Let me say May 14, 1948 to September 23rd, 2025. And I got to say, how many days? How many? Come on. How many days or weeks? Is it weeks or months? Months. They're still analyzing. Okay, so it says it's 900, uh, 928 months. Okay. How many weeks? Something's wrong with the internet, I guess. It said I can't go any further. I wonder is the internet out or internet down? Let me do it again, because sometimes you can do it again, huh? Maybe is that too much numbers to ask? So we'll stick with the first uh, amount of numbers divided by. I only got one person. That's why I paused. There was only one person that was watching, so I didn't really care. Oh shoot! it it means remind. It says the number is 4036, and it says reminds of the Tower of Babel. So if you count the amount of time from the amount of time from 9/11 to now, and then you count from, yeah, a lot of this stuff, like, even, I mean, it's creepy. It's a lot of things going on, but and we don't know it's in the spiritual realm, and you won't find out until you get to heaven. Um, like, even having, I got to be careful. Um, you had this young man get assassinated, and he was sort of supporting Israel at the time. So a lot of this stuff, man, the 9/11, all this connection stuff with Israel. I love, I favor Israel because they're God's people. I believe they are. God says in Genesis 12, um, if you bless Israel, you're blessed. If you curse Israel, you curse. But then it says in Revelation chapter 3, not everyone who says they're of Israel is Israel. So just like, to me, not every, but I look at it this way in America. Not everyone who works in Congress is for America. So if that's the way it's saying it. Not everyone has Israel's best interest, just like not everyone has America's best interest. So when I say, this is probably a poor title that I made for this video, it's probably a poor title. But I guess what I'm trying to infer is that buckle up, because they just divided. They just told you that they're going to divide Jerusalem, and God says in Zechariah, He said, "You have parted my land, I will part yours also." And we got a fault line going right in the middle of the United States. I don't know if the earthquake from the rapture is going to cause Yellowstone to burst open and then smoke to be everywhere, because it says that I'm going to bring smoke and health, and brimstone, fire. So a lot of that stuff is speculative. We don't have a hands-on. Like I say, you see through the glass dimly. You don't see everything clearly until it happens. Um, Listen, folks. After that vote, I didn't think that vote would come now. I thought it would probably wait. Now I got to go find out what kind of vote is it. Is it just a vote to discuss it, or is it a vote um, to establish a two-state solution. So I'm thinking all you have to do is say it, because it says when they shall say peace and safety, sudden destruction, or so should they be saying we are going to divide Jerusalem, because that's the thing that knocks everything. If things start to happen, is when they start passing things, and they start and things start like the first. I think a lot of things started happening when those red heifers were burned. I think a lot of things started happening at that point. A lot of things that were biblical, even to a point where Joshua came from South Africa on the Sense Twins show, saying that these watch these dates. Um, in Thessalonians, it says this: do not, don't let that day over. And Matthew said, don't let that day overtake you as a thief. But Paul is saying that day should not overtake you, or that day should not catch you by surprise. But if it catches you by surprise, that means you were asleep. Another day that day can catch you is you saying that it's not going to happen on that day, even though somebody pointed that day out. I know it's been a lot of time, a lot of years, and probably you could probably even go back to the 1840s when people are looking for the Feast of Trumpets. You can probably go back to 88 Reasons Why or Harold Camping. I don't know what day Harold Camping picked, but it doesn't matter. Eventually, it's going to happen, and people wouldn't see it in that light. That the Feast of Trumpets. I mean, it doesn't have to be anyone you pick. It has to be the one that God picks. He the one sets the timing, not us. Anyway, God bless you guys. I'm going to get off of here. I got, I do videos all through the day. So if God prompt me to do a video, I'll do a video. But God bless you guys and have a wonderful day. See y'all later.